Hello, namaste, and good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to the Q&A. So I think this is about the second Q&A that I have done now. So there were lots and lots of questions, so I am going to have to do a Q&A part 1 and also a Q&A part 2. So in this Q&A part 1, I'm going to answer more questions that you've given me about myself and what it's like to be a solo female traveller here in India. So there were lots of questions, so I have written them down in my book. So I'll be reading them from the book. So question number 1 is, tell me something about yourself. When did you start to travel in India? Okay, so basically there's lots of other questions around that too. So here we go, a little bit about myself. My full name is Kaveri. My nickname is Kaz. I was born and raised in the UK in a place called Liverpool, and my family are in Liverpool. Originally, my parents are from India, from the north, from Punjab, which isn't too far away from where I am now. I'm in the Himalayas, and as you can see, there's a beautiful mountain there in the background. So let's get back to the book. So my name Kaveri, it's actually the name of a river in the south of India in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. It flows through Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, but I have seen the river in a few places in Karnataka. Alrighty, so get back to the book. So I'll be looking at the camera and looking at the book, kind of like this. Okay, so when did I start to travel in India? So basically I came here in 2019, so nearly 3 years on this particular travel experience. I started in Kerala, and then I travelled all the way to Dharamshala, lots and lots of stops on the way for many years across on the way. So I went to Kerala, Gokarna. I also went to other places near Gokarna in Karnataka, such as Mysore, where the River Kaveri is, Cork, where the River Kaveri is. I also went to Chikmagalur, which was like here, really, really, really mountainous and very, very beautiful. So, and then from there I went to Rishikesh up north. That was a 40-hour train ride from Goa, actually. I went from Gokarna to Goa to Rishikesh. And then from Rishikesh up the mountain to Dharamshala. And now I'm currently in Billing. Okay, I think it's time for question number 2. Question number 2 is, how did you get the idea of getting off your English couch? This is great, isn't it, this one? And going out on your own and travelling in India? Okay, good question. Well, it all started in 2018 when I did a yoga teacher training course in Kerala. The teacher training course changed my life. So basically, it wasn't just about the asanas, the yoga practice. It was all about the mind as well. We did a lot of yoga philosophy. And it basically just got me out of this fear zone of just going out and exploring India on my own. So I went back after my teacher training course, packed up my flat and came straight back to India. And this journey, yes, it's been going on now for nearly 3 years. Okay, next question. What was the initial thing that shocked you most, about India in the first couple of weeks of living there? I would say it's the assault on the senses, the sensory overload. Very, very much it was the harassment from the sellers. I made the mistake of telling them that I was going to run a retreat here in international tourism. So as you can see, it's before the COVID time. This was happening, and a lot of it was just so much harassment. Like, you come to our shop, you buy from us, you bring your people, your tourist people, don't take them to any other shop, just buy from us. So I would try to reason with them and say, well, maybe it's nice to share the business. And they were, no, just bring them to my shop. And you know what? It was just too much harassment for me. And what I learned from them is just don't get involved with sellers. So I think the answer to that one is just the harassment in the huge tourism places. I don't manage mass tourism very well. Okay, so let's get on to the next question. The next question is, what is the hardest thing about living in India as a solo female traveller? I think for me, honestly, from my hearts and hearts, I think it's the stirring. I try and think of it logically because, generally speaking, without being stereotypical, a lot of the older men will stir when they see me on my own. I've also discussed this with other solo female travellers. It doesn't matter whether they're international travellers or Indian travellers, and they seem to have this same experience, which is causing us some intimidation. Logically, I'm trying to think this is just the culture. In their day, women never ever went out on their own, so of course they're curious about what's going on. But what really has got to me a couple of times is if I need to get some Wi-Fi to teach my yoga online, I will find the Wi-Fi, do my own personal yoga practice. I think nice place to practice yoga outside, beautiful place. And then this old man will just come and watch me and stare at me doing yoga. And at that point thinking, is my top falling down? I better lift it up. I want this man to go away. I'm trying to be peaceful, trying to do my yoga practice. So I think the hardest thing to manage is the inappropriate staring, but maybe from my point of view as a solo woman traveller, my culture, it's not appropriate. From their point of view, it could be appropriate, but I don't like it, and a lot of other solo female travellers that I have spoken to don't like this either. So that's probably the hardest thing, no matter how logical I'm trying to make of it. I don't like it. So that probably is the hardest thing, is the older men staring at me. Okay, let's move on, shall we? To another question. These are great questions, by the way, guys. Right. Do you want to stay in India forever? The simple answer to that is no. I think that there's lots and lots of other places in the world that I can visit, and I can absorb different cultures, because it's really good to broaden the mind. I say this sitting here now, but gosh, take me out of India and the wonderful, wonderful side to India, like their cultural depth, their religious depth, the awesome friendliness of the people. I think there's part of me that's very addicted to India, but in my mind, I don't really want to stay here forever. So it's quite a tricky question, that one, I guess. All right, next question is, have you picked up any of the languages yet? And do you intend to? Yes, I have picked up the languages. I'll give you an example. When I was in Karnataka living in Gokana, I lived with the family. Those that have been following me for a long time will know that I lived with a lady called Parvati, and she was an amazing cook. And she lived there with her husband Chandran and their daughter Jessary. And Jessary went to local school, and in the evening time she'd need to come home and do her letters in Kannada. So the language in Karnataka is called Kannada. So I'd sit and learn the Kannada alphabet along with 4-year-old Jessary. So a, e, oo, e, o, u, Roo. That's all I know. And Hindi, I actually grew up listening to my parents speaking Hindi, so I understand what people are saying. Not so much if the speech is very, very fast, but generally speaking, I can pick up on it. I can reply, but it's very, very wearing if I'm honest with you. But I think it's important to learn local languages in India. That's part of the Indian cultural depth. So the answer to that is yes. I want to continue picking up the different languages. Living in Kerala, I also picked up some Malayali, but I've forgotten it because they only speak it in Kerala, and I've been out of Kerala for a long, long time. Okay, shall we move on to the next question? So, the next question is, what does Om Namah Shivaya mean? Because I say that a lot on my vlogs, and it is Hindi and it is Sanskrit. Often at the end of the vlog, I'll say Shanti, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace to all of you in the world. Om Namah Shivaya is basically blessing the auspicious one. So all my viewers are auspicious people. In Hinduism, they would say it because they are bowing to Lord Shiva. And as you know on these vlogs, the ones that follow me, Lord Shiva is the God who will break you before he makes you. And therefore, worshippers, disciples think he is the auspicious one. So to Lord Shiva, they say Om Namah Shivaya. And to other people, because we believe in positivity and we believe everybody is auspicious. Okay, let's move on. Brilliant questions. Super, super questions. Okay. When was the last time you went back to England, and what was it like? Was it weird after being in India for so long? 2 months after my stay in India on this particular visit, I went home to see my family for 3 weeks, and then I came back. And no, it wasn't weird because I literally had only been in India for 2 months. If I went home fairly soon, yes, I'm sure it would be really, really weird. Really weird. Okay. Next question is, why do you choose to travel solo? In my experience of travelling with other people and travelling in groups, I often find I only stick to speaking to those particular people and mingling with those particular people. When I travel solo, it is far more authentic because I am forced to talk and mingle with the local people. That's the way I pick up on the languages. That's the way that I pick up on the different cultures and the depth of spirituality. So I think travelling solo just gives me a broader depth to travelling in India. Okay. Next question is, what are the 2 best things about solo travelling? So number 1, I've already said, it's the fact that you pick up a lot more travel education. I feel that because I'm not just in my little group talking to them, I'm mixing with other people. I think the other one has to be the hospitality. You often find that when an Indian family see you on your own, they will give you their food, they will ask you to sit with them. If you're in a group of 20 people, it perhaps isn't possible. So again, you're actually getting something really authentic, like the home-cooked food, and again, the authenticity, the real, true India, the real value of how beautiful people are, the families are here in India. Okay, we will move on to the next question, which is, what are the 2 worst things about solo travelling? Okay, sometimes there's a little bit of challenge on the bus and on the trains. What it is they have what they call women-seated area. So on a bus you can't book that, but my experience of going on a bus is there'll be areas dedicated to women, but the men are sitting in them. On the train, you can book your women's quota and your women's bed. I've had experiences, those that saw my long distance train journeys will know this, that if I've booked a space in the women's quota, I get there and it's full of men. It's 8 berths for the women's quota, and every single person in that berth is a man, and they're sleeping, and I've got on the train at 2 o'clock in the morning, so you can imagine how vulnerable I'm feeling. So I have to quickly problem solve. So in that particular instance I just changed my whole dorm and stayed in a family dorm. So that was really good. I managed to problem solve, but it seems to be that they don't seem to mean what they say, and I think this is quite a delicate issue with women. Often they'll say in India, don't make a scene, it's all right, we break the rules. But you know what, I do make a scene, because I think it's important that you want to feel safe and secure as a woman travelling in India. So I think that bit is that's probably one of the worst things about travelling. The other one is what I said earlier, and that's the staring. The staring and the not valuing the women's seated areas. They're the most challenging things, but by bringing up here, maybe we can make these changes so that solo female travellers can feel that much more comfortable. It's safe, I feel, to travel as a solo female traveller. We just need to increase comfort levels a little bit more. Right, let's see what else there is to these questions, shall we? So, what are the 2 best things about solo travelling? I think I've covered that one. Yes, I've covered that one about the food and the culture. So what 3 pieces of advice would you give to another British female wanting to travel in India? 3 pieces of advice. So number 1, I would say, is bring some ear defenders. Sounds really funny. It's full of sensory overload. It's very, very loud. And if you've come for meditation and peace, you may want to bring some ear defenders. Secondly, don't get over friendly with too many people in these tourist areas where there's mass tourism, especially the sellers, because people will really take advantage. The 3rd piece of advice I would say is enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it, especially as a solo female traveller, where you can go out and meet local families and they'll show you their hospitality and their local life, the depth of their culture, their beautiful environment. So definitely number 3, and most important, enjoy it. Okay, more questions. Right, I will answer, I think, another 2, and then yes, we'll do the following Q&A another day, I think. Okay. Why do you appear so happy when you express your travel experiences? Perhaps it's because I am happy. I'm very, very happy inside, despite the challenges. I'm very happy inside because I think the Indian hospitality, the friendliness of the local people, not so much in the mass tourism places, there's different entities, and the food, the temples here in the Himalayas, the Tibetan side of things, it fills me with happiness. Om Namah Shivaya. It fills me with so much happiness. Okay, I think final question. No, I think maybe let's stop there. Shall we? How many places? No, we'll answer this one. We'll answer this one, and then we'll go on to the next one tomorrow. How many places have you travelled to in India? On this particular visit in 3 years, let me think. Kerala, Kanyakumari, Gokarna, Cork, Mysore, Chikmagalur, Hampi, Goa, Rishikesh, Dharamshala, Burbilling, 11. Okay. So this is actually nearly 20 minutes, this actual Q&A, because there's lots of questions and I really appreciate the questions. They are amazing. So I will see you tomorrow on Q&A part 2. Namaste and bye for now.